All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hope you like my new fancy background. I just figured out how to do that. Hello. All right, we got some people in here. Awesome. If this is your first time, welcome. Oh, wait, my mic's not on. There, that helps. If I turn my mic on, that really helps. That should help out a lot. Welcome, everybody. Am I too hot? How am I doing? Oh, my mic was on. Great. Awesome. Then I don't know what happened then. Okay, cool. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Deem Tauzy. If this is your first time here, make sure to follow the Twitch channel. We also have Instagram up. We've got TikTok up. We got all the things going. So follow and YouTube as well. Today we'll be talking about always too hot. Thank you. That's very kind. That's very, very kind. Now it's double on. Is it bad? Does it sound bad? I can't hear myself, so are we good? You're good. Okay, great. Okay, good. Welcome everybody to the stream. Today we'll be talking about PLANESCAPERS. We'll be doing a tricks of the trade. So I'll be talking about some Dungeon Master. I'll be getting out some Dungeon Master tips, and then we'll be talking about the schedule this week, because this week is actually pretty heavy with streams. We're trying out some new stuff, so it's pretty exciting. Let's just do that right now because we've got a lot of people in. Okay, so this week I'm doing this, obviously, and then tomorrow, Monday, we'll be streaming PvP. So that is happening. That's going to be at 8 p.m. tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you haven't played PvP and you're one of my players and you want to jump in, you want to do it, I highly recommend it. It is very different than regular player versus enemy content. PvP is it's where you test your mettle against other players. So it's a lot of fun. So that's happening tomorrow, but we are streaming it. So you can watch. You can watch from the arena stands, as it were. Tuesday is our third episode of PLANESCAPERS. That is happening with our guest host, Colin Cardeal. He's coming in, so that's rad. Colin's a good friend of mine. He's also a really talented artist and lighting designer. He's pretty rad. Okay, you can hear the replay. Never mind. Okay, good. And then Thursday we will be streaming Strahd. I have a couple campaigns of Curse of Strahd going on right now. Thursday we will be streaming that. If you are currently in Strahd, or you want to play Strahd with me, you shouldn't watch that. So don't watch that stream if you want spoilers, or if you don't want spoilers, because there will be spoilers there. So we're doing that one just to try something else out. So only watch that one if you've already played Strahd, or if you're someone I've talked to specifically, I think it's the way we're going to do that. Yeah. Also, we have portraits for our characters for PLANESCAPERS. There's currently first drafts of the portraits, and they look awesome. They're made by the D12 Rose, and they look incredible. And apparently she has to touch them up, which they already look phenomenal. So we'll have those up pretty soon. Okay, let's get into it. If you have any questions on chat, if you have any questions about DMing or planescaping, I'll be constantly looking over it. So post them when you want. Otherwise, I'll just start answering questions, mostly from Jeremy. I think most of these questions are from Jeremy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you don't know what PLANESCAPERS is, it's a campaign that we're streaming on Tuesday nights at 9. Tuesday nights at 9 will be PLANESCAPERS every Tuesday, unless we say otherwise. We didn't have one last week, but we did this stream. So some Tuesdays we won't, but most Tuesdays we will do an episode. Planescape is a campaign setting that I absolutely love. It's my favorite campaign setting. If you want to check it out, go read up on Sigil, Sigil. If you just want to hang out on Wiki and have a good time, read up on Sigil, read up on Planescape. It's basically a madness multiverse trip. It's an insane good time dealing with all the different outer planes and inner planes of the D&D multiverse. So that's what we'll be doing on Tuesdays, just kind of jumping. We're going to be plane hopping. Cool. So, Jeremy asks, do you find yourself planning for more roleplay situations because it's being streamed? The short answer is yes. The long answer is most of my Roll20 games are heavy combat, I would say. I would say like 60 to 70% combat. And then the rest is roleplay because I think it just addresses the needs of like the D&D Roll20 player base more. They're more into, they want that kind of, they want to be able to test their mettle. But on a stream, I usually think that combat is the least interesting thing that happens. The roleplay is just more interesting to watch. Like the show, and the way we modeled how the show is shot and how we're doing it, I really wanted to highlight the people, the actors, because they're the most fascinating thing. I place obstacles in front of them, and their reactions is the show. That's just the way it always is. So I always think that's the most interesting thing. So yeah, role playing is a lot heavier on a much more visual medium, I think. Unless that combat is one player slay one another. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, PvP is roughly 95% combat. Some role play because I add some chaos to it as a DM. So yeah. Yeah. That's a little different. So yes, I try to make more role playing, but I'm also like seeing how it goes because this is my first time like streaming a live show, so I'm seeing how it goes. I'm enjoying it though. I'm enjoying that. How are you strategizing the show's set pieces to ensure the game's pace doesn't slow? Oh boy. Your first episode featured a chase and a dungeon. Is the aim of the show to keep more to the game as a focus? If so, how are you strategizing set pieces? And do you have advice for keeping up the pace for home games similarly? I would say, like, with this show, I'm treating it as if there were... I mean, I try to treat all D&D as if there were a camera. I mean, sometimes if you're one of my players, you'll hear me say, like, the camera cuts to, or we see the camera slide, and there's a visual shot of, and then I say some stuff. Because I think, like, when we treat it as if it were an action series or an action movie, I think it just works better. D&D 5e is made to be heroic cinematic fantasy, so I might as well lean into that. And with a live stream, with that, I try to lean into it even more. So I would say, like, in terms of keeping the game's pace so it doesn't slow, make your set pieces different. Just make them literally different. So for Lorgale's Lab, it's a wagon chase, and then you have like a role play, just a CD just full of NPCs, just a role play. Paragon Alley is just full of people to talk to. So it's a huge departure from what we just did. And then we go into a dungeon because I want the first episode to be like to also introduce the concept of a dungeon. So the first episode has everything in there. So to ensure the game's pace, change up your set pieces. Make sure they're different. That's what I would say to that. And we're just going to go, how did I get into D&D? Oh, boy. Oh, let's go through the mists of time. When I was a 13-year-old lad, my first experience at D&D was, I was in my brother's game, and I was the mule. Not a person with coconuts dragging stuff. I was literally a donkey. And they were like, you're the donkey, you carry stuff. And I read the stats, and it said I had a kick. Because donkeys can kick. And I thought that was the raddest thing in the world. And this was like old school. This was first edition. So anything could kill you. So a donkey could kill you. So I was like, I enjoyed it. But I just loved, that was my first, was I 13? No, I was 8. I was like 8 years old. My first time game mastering was when I was 13. And that's when I jumped into PFRPG, Palladium Fantasy Role-Playing Game by Kevin Siambata. I think that's how you say his name. If you don't know what that is, go look that up. Go look PFRPG, Nightbane, and Rifts. It's all the same. It's all the same circle of stuff there. It's all the same circle of creation. It's really good stuff. Not the best mechanics, terrible mechanics, but really, really good thematic stuff. I was wondering if you would bring up Rifts and Playtime. Yes. Yes. Of course I'm going to bring that up. I introduced you to those. Yes, exactly. I mean, I don't recommend playing them because they don't hold up. But in terms of like reading material, they're incredible. Incredible. Rifts is incredible. Nightbane is one of my favorite settings of all time. The mechanics just are kind of awful at this point. Yeah. That's what I'd say to that. PB's 95% comment, 5% hugs. Kind of. Sometimes there's hugs. Okay. Let's see. Tricks of the trade. For our new campaign, what are simple backstory options to connect the PCs? Oh, and we're going to go till like, I don't know, till I drop for like an hour. We're going to go another 30, 45 minutes or something like that. Yeah, that's how long we'll go tonight. For our new campaign, what are simple backstory options to connect the PCs? We're starting new. What advice do you give for simple, good backstory connections? Not too complex, but help team cohesion. So make it as simple as you can. If like my thing is, I like for PCs to know each other, to be connected in some way. You can literally do one of those like diagram charts where there's a, I forget what they're called, but it's just somebody know what I'm talking about. It's just like boxes and lines connecting to other boxes. Can't think of the word, but literally do that with your character. I am a butler to this PC. This PC is a mother to that PC. That PC are sworn enemies with this other PC, but they're somehow figured it out how to not try to murder each other for this campaign. That's what I recommend. Make it simple. Choose to know everyone or choose to know just one person in the group. Choose to care about at least that one person. That's my advice for connecting. In terms of backstory though, you know, if you're starting first level, you shouldn't have, just keep it to a simple paragraph. You are first level, you're not fifth level. So, you know, keep it to a couple sentences. You don't need much more than that. Maybe you'll figure out more as you go along, be like, I think this is also part of my backstory. But in terms of backstory, keep it real simple. You don't have to do a lot. Okay. What is a good method for keeping track of... What is a good method for keeping track of multiple NPCs' motivations for the current session? Multiple NPC drivers at hand in your head for sessions worth of prep. God, that's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't, most NPCs' motivations can be boiled down to like one or two things that they really want. Just like basic 101 acting, what they teach you is like, you have something you want, boil it down to that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, big keywords. Yeah, this person's into bloodshed. This person's greed. This person loves one of your PCs and just wants attention. Yeah, just make it big, bold words. Doesn't have to go crazy. Honestly, whatever you're creating, this is kind of a thing that I've thinking about the other day. Whatever you're creating, whatever it is you do create, dumb it down one level. Traps, I was thinking about it for traps, but really it's for anything. Or for puzzles. It's really true for puzzles. Whatever you create, dumb it down one level. Because the PCs, they don't know jack. They know very little. They only know what you give them. PCs are mute, they're deaf, and they're blind to whatever campaign setting you have. They have no senses until you give them. So whatever you give them, dumb it down one level, whatever that means. I think that's my advice. Yep. Since you tend to have more players than 4, how do you modify encounters in the book for 6 or so? Oh, goodness. Okay, so I could spend 3 hours talking about this. So I will. Buckle up. Okay, so Okay, here's the deal. I hear this more often than like most things in 5e. I hear people complaining like CR is broken. CR stands for challenge rating is broken in D&D 5e. I don't think it's broken. I think it's bent. It's bent hard. But yeah, so D&D 5e is designed for 4 people of low magic items. So what you have is an edition of D&D that was marketed extraordinarily well, is very, very approachable, and as such, it has garnered an extremely large player base. Because of that, I would say the player size at a table, literally the player base is so big. The GM base is not as big as it should be. So the average player size at a table is probably closer to like 4.7, 4.8 when you add how many people are actually playing this game. So what that means is it's an easier game for most people with what it's presented as, right? Because there's just more players, and there's more players, they're going to stomp through more content. They're going to have an easier time unless you make it harder. So just know that if you're DMing, you're probably going to have more players, and the game is designed for just 4 with low magic items. So how do you modify encounters for the first 6 or so? Sometimes it comes down to just more monsters, more hit points. The numbers of that can be real simple. With 4 players, a boss monster, something like a boss monster should just get, at a base, 1.5 times the amount of hit points. 5 players, 2 times. 6 players, 3 times, and so forth. That seems like a lot. It really, really isn't. That is like, they'll chew through your monsters even with that. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, so CR's not broken. And I don't think that this game should be designed for like 4.8 or 5 player D&D. Because if you do that, you leave behind. There are actually a lot of groups that only have like 2 or 3 players or 4 players. And I think you leave them behind. So I think it's best to keep it at designed for 4 with the knowledge that a lot more people are playing. Yeah. And it didn't used to always be that way. First edition D&D, back in the day, you'd be lucky if you had 4 people to play your game. It was usually around 3, maybe 4. And then you bring house rules into it to shift the balance even more. Yeah. Yeah. My house rules are helping out the players even more. I think it's okay. I don't think it breaks the game. I think the ones I'm allowing are just giving you more options for a game that's getting a little old at this point, or older. 5e is still just 10 years old. Okay. Yeah. And also for modifying encounters for 6 or more, you can literally just give bigger and more obstacles. That doesn't just mean hit points or you can literally just have more of whatever D&D is. More NPCs, more of this, more of that. Things take longer, but that's not a problem. Like if it's taking long, but people are having fun, that's what they're here for. Why did you recently change the house rules to allow both feats and multi-class? I changed that because I don't think it was actually... I think it's okay to let those floodgates open. I think that's a good rule to say like only feats and only feats or only multi-class. But actually, I'm okay with allowing both of it. I think like I'm open to more choices. I'm open to more things. If I see too many hex blades, well, I'll reconsider. But ultimately, I'm okay with that. I really am. I think it'll be okay. Monsters like 4th edition's minions are one of my favorite for upping an encounter. Yes, put some minions in there. Yep. If you don't know what a minion is, it's just a 1 hit point monster. 4th edition's great for that. How do you keep traps relevant in a dungeon crawl without fear of them? The dungeon governor wants to know what your biggest pet peeves are with players. I think when I think after a while, when they're unprepared with what their character can do. But I get it. I'm playing in a campaign right now, and I'm like, I can't remember what I do, and I'm just one person. Just read your. My biggest advice, like if you're playing, is read your character class, know your character class, and read the combat section. Make sure you know the combat section, and make sure you know your character class. My biggest pet peeve, it's probably that. Probably players who should at this point know what they're doing, but for one reason or another, it just doesn't stick to their heads. Yeah. How do you keep traps relevant in a dungeon crawl without fear of them slowing the game down? Given passive scores and sometimes statements of "I'm always searching," what's your best advice for keeping traps relevant to a crawl without slowing things down? Honestly, you don't allow "I'm always searching." You have to say you're searching. "I'm always searching" is kind of like saying "I'm always swinging my blade." Like, you can't do that. It's cheap. You can't say "I'm always searching." You just have to. You literally have to do it. Now, when it comes down to like taking 20 or actually making a search, and taking 20 is shorthand for a rule they had in 3rd edition, which basically says I'm taking 20, which literally means I'm rolling a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, all the way up to 20. Like, I'm literally taking 20 minutes to do this action to make sure I get a nat 20 in it. That usually has to do with searching something, or it can be like I'm in a library and I'm reading as many books as I can to find this information. I'm taking 20 on finding this one book. Those are still part of the rules. Those are part of the rules. It's in the player's handbook. Like it's not called taking 20, but it's called like if you have time to do this thing and it's not dangerous, you're not being pressed, then you can be successful. That's the rule. Like, you're successful if you have time. With Planescapers, I don't allow that because I want Planescapers to have a soft time cap. The players are rushed somewhat, so they have to roll perceptions or investigations in order to find things, or really anything. They have to roll. I do think it's more dramatically interesting for like a stream. And it's more interesting for this campaign. For maybe another one, I'll go back to allowing the take 20. But okay, how do we keep traps relevant? Honestly, I think traps are still relevant. I think traps, you'd be surprised, even with a take 20 rule, even with a rule that says like, I just want to take 20 in this rule, how many times players just don't do that and they step on the pit. It just happens a lot. It's okay. I don't think, and like, so to not slow the game down, I honestly, it's actually okay to allow a take 20. And I'm thinking about maybe giving it back to the Planescapers, because this always happens. If you don't allow a take 20, you have one person who rolls a perception investigation. They get a 4, and then everyone at the table's metagames, right? So another player goes, "Can I search?" As if to say, I know that player rolled bad, and I'm pretty sure there's something here, so I'd like to try. Well, if you're going to have everyone try, why not just have it take 20 to begin with? So I might make the switch. I think take 20 is fine. It just, it makes it more real and grounded, as opposed to, searching for something and you don't see it, and then you're soft blocked from it or hard blocked from it. It sucks when it happens in a video game too. If you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, you see the outline of a secret door, all your players walk up on it, and all of them fail their perception checks. So what do? You're screwed. You can't do anything. You know there's a secret door there. So you either load your game, or you go through the game knowing that you're locked out of a place that you clearly see. Personally more rewarding when your dice come through for you. Yes, it is. Yes. That's a thing, yes. But I would say in 5e, you're going to roll a lot of dice. You're going to roll so many dice. So just to have a couple things that are like, you can succeed if you take the time, I think I'm okay with. You go to games, switch party members and come back. Yeah, exactly. 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 What do you do when someone says, "I pull a candlestick," and that's what does the secret door, even if they fail to find it? I would say that opens the secret frickin' door. Even if they don't find it. If you get real specific with your searching, you get advantage or you just succeed. That's how I always play that way. If there's a secret under the desk and you search under the desk, we don't need to roll perception. You find it. Yeah. That's how I feel about that. It feels weird for someone to search something and because again, players are blind. They have no sensory, they're sensory deprived of the campaign, of the setting, whatever it is. And for you as a DM to say you only have 6 seconds to look at this thing and then you're done, feels a little weird sometimes. So I try to allow Take 20 rules. In combat, what moves like flank actions, cantrips, are smart fun for a PC that doesn't have an obvious option? In a team tactical game, a PC doesn't have an optimal awesome move every turn. What advice do you have for players to spice up and have fun with simple moves? Because sometimes a simple strike or flank or cantrip is great. If you are a player, the best thing you can do is describe your own actions. If you're a warlock and you're casting Eldritch Blast almost every turn, you can make that fun every time by describing it. Describe your own Eldritch Blast. What does it look like? Does it look like a trail of spectral mist that ends in a horrifying spirit skull? Does it look like Mardi Gras beads shooting out of your hand? Does it look like does it look like a frozen beam that shatters with force damage? Like what does your thing look like? Describe it. You don't need to do every move, but describing your emotions helps. I try as a DM to give you some options. I try to say you can do this, or you can do this. So to give you an option of different things you can do. Yeah, that's what I would say. Any other questions from you guys? Any other questions? Can an illusionist illusions work in games raw, or are homebrew assumptions needed to help players enjoy them? I've always wanted to play an illusionist, but the game mechanics make it so weird, like you have to chant loudly to cast silent image. There's the fact that deception is ka, not int, that you casting illusion isn't subtle, so you can't really trick people you don't already have the drip on. Is it better to just avoid illusion in 5e? The short answer is yes. The long answer is no. Here we go. Okay. Illusion and perception of illusion is in a similar vein of stealth and perception of stealth. They're very complicated ideas, and 5e probably has the best grasp of it yet, and it's still a nightmare. So for illusions, do you have any tips for people who are just started playing? If you just started playing, read up on. I'll get to these questions in a bit. Let me go to illusion stuff. Okay, so illusions. Okay, my rule is for most creatures in D&D are pretty dumb. Their intelligence is very low. So illusion magic actually does work on a lot of things. If your intelligence of 10 or higher, you have a good chance of knowing the spell. If you use a verbal component and it happens to be an illusion spell, they might know that that's an illusion. But honestly, unless you're in an urban environment, that doesn't come up as much as you'd think. Because subtle spell is a thing for sorcerers, but for wizards, I try to make illusion magic work. I try to make it work. But then there's the other flip side, which is that intelligence saving throws are very strong. Because monsters are so dumb, intelligence saving throws are very... most monsters will fail them, which means that type of magic, like Mind Sliver and Dissonant Whispers Wisdom. It's some of the intelligence stuff. I think Synaptic Static is one, maybe. They're bound to do a lot of damage. They're bound to be very effective. So that type of stuff is very strong against these dumb things. And I would say illusion magic can work very well against creatures who otherwise wouldn't know what you're casting anyway. That's the best bet I would say there. Yeah, but it is tricky. I know. I would just say, like, be aware of who you're casting illusion magic on. That's the short answer, honestly. Okay. What do you? Why did you adopt the free feat at level 1 house rule? It's a customizable thing. That is a versatility and customizable thing. Most characters at level 1 feel very samey for most players, so that's just a thing to try and shake up the power structure and give you an element of customizing your character. Like if you want to take the chef feat, and it's a good feat to take, but you want to like maybe make a backstory attached to that. It's just another thing that gives your character flavor. It's definitely power. It definitely gives you some power, and it's another thing that I think DMs need to be aware of. Most people do. Most DMs do give the level 1 house rule feat, and so that's going to shake up the challenge rating problem, or it's going to exacerbate it. But I still think it's okay. Do you have any tips for people who just started playing? I mean, you might have to be more specific. Like, what are you having? Are you having any trouble with something? Are you having trouble finding groups? Are you having trouble with your character itself? The basics of playing D&D are very simple for 5th edition. You tell the DM what you want to do, and you're probably going to roll a dice to see if you're successful. You're probably going to roll a d20, add a modifier to it. That modifier is going to be anywhere in the range of +0, really, -1 to +6 when you start off. And you're going to try and match or beat a DC. And that's the game. That's 95% of D&D. So my tip for if you're just starting playing, you're playing a very approachable edition of D&D. It's complicated with regards to like other games out there, other things you can play when you get to the nitty-gritty of it, but on a surface level, it's very simple. So just know that. Whatever you create, just tell the DM what you want to do, and hopefully that person will try and make it happen. That's my answer to that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, 1 second. Let me look at something. Okay, great. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Does approachable equate to forgiving? Yeah, sometimes it is. Yeah. You're dealing with a game, 5e, unlike other editions, you're dealing with a game that gives you a lot of advantage. It gives you a lot of meta currency. You have a lot of things like Halfling Luck. You have a lot of things like Portent. You have a lot of things like all these abilities that say, oh, I failed. Oh, wait, I have a thing. I can try again. There's a lot of retry in 5e. There's a lot of like, oh, I can give you this thing that gives you a little boost. There's a lot of boosting in 5e. So yeah, it is very free. It's a very forgiving edition. You still have to know it though. You still have to like read. Meaning house cats won't kill your wizard. Yeah. Okay. As combats can greatly benefit from group tactics, should spellcasters feel pressure to optimize for combat? I recently played a druid who never used conjure or summon except for story travel needs. Sometimes I felt guilty that I wasn't using the strongest druid spells. In a team tactic game, should spellcasters feel pressure to optimize? I don't think you should ever feel pressure to optimize unless you're playing a game where that's a thing. 5e is made so that even if you really don't know what you're doing, it's likely that someone else does, and so you're probably going to succeed. Even if you do know what you're doing, the dice can be heavily against you that day, and so it just doesn't matter. So, it's a D20 system. It's not like a 2D6 system. So it's very swingy. So even if you do know what you're doing, you can trip up. You can trip up on yourself. But should spellcasters feel pressure to optimize for combat? I think it depends on the campaign. It really does depend on the campaign. Like Strahd is a lot more roleplay heavy. So yeah, it just depends on the campaign. Depends on your DM, depends on the campaign. That's what I would say. Yeah. That's what I got. Oh, I have some Strahd specific questions because I want to run it, but I don't want to ask them if others are still playing through. Others are still playing through Strahd. I have two other groups playing through Curse of Strahd. Curse of Strahd is a great campaign. If you haven't played it and you want to play with me, let me know. I'll start another one pretty soon. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of it. I'll just say that, like, Curse of Strahd is a very old campaign setting. Ravenloft's a very old campaign setting, and it's been modified and adapted and fine-tuned to a place where it's very awesome. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Let me do the, once again, if you guys are just showing up, we're streaming tomorrow for PvP. That's going to be at 8 p.m. PT. We got PvP happening. And then on Tuesday, same time at 9 p.m., or different time at 9 p.m., we got episode 3 with Colin Cardeal. And then Thursday, we'll be streaming Curse of Strahd. Okay, I will eventually, okay, great. Thursday, we'll be streaming Curse of Strahd. If you're playing Curse of Strahd or you want to play Strahd, do not watch that day. Please. But if you have just finished Strahd, please watch. Please come watch that day. We can use the numbers. Appreciate it. Okay. Any other questions from you guys? Anybody itching to ask me something? Do we still have some people? How are we doing, Josh? Discord link on Twitch about page. Yes. Okay, good. There is a Discord link. You can find me there. Please find me there. I am DM Tauzy. You can find me on Discord there. If you want to be part of the community, I've got a server called DM Tauzy TTRPG. Come friend me and I'll bring you in. If you want to be a player, let me know. And we'll see if I can get you in. My schedule's pretty full at this point, but I am looking possibly for another player on Monday nights. That's where I am right there. Yeah. What's that? What do I think? Oh, can you... I don't see that one. Can you post that? Can you write down that answer again, Sensei? What do you do when someone says I pulled the candlestick and that's what the secret... Oh, yeah, I did answer that. You reveal the secret door. Absolutely reveal the secret door. You don't tell the player to load their save game and try again. Or go back to camp and switch out your party for an entirely different party. Because your passive wasn't high enough, or however it works in BG3. Yes. And once again, I have added the house rule. I think it's working great that you may cast bonus action spells and action spells during your same turn. I'm getting rid of that action economy rule. I'm totally fine with it. It's a lot more fun. And I don't think it's broken. The only broken thing, I think the thing they were trying to get rid of was like sorcerers casting 2 fireballs in a turn, but I'm still saying no to that. You still can't do that, so it's fine. How many player characters have you killed in your career? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's under 20. I'm not... Does that sound bad? That sounded bad coming out of my face. Just under 20, you guys. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. So, you know, one every 1.5 years is not bad. Yeah. Maybe somewhere around there. Sounds about right. Hundreds. Okay, guys. I'm going to end it there, I think. I think we're good. Yeah, unless you guys have some extra questions, we'll just end it at a 45-minute. Josh, you good with that? Are we good with the numbers? Probably kill one this Thursday. Tune in. Oh, well, I'm not counting PvP. I'm definitely not counting PvP. That would not be fair. Okay. We're going to end it here. Hopefully, I'll do this again if you guys keep wanting me to do this. I'll talk some... Give me a subject, and I'll come in and talk my face off about it. Sorry. Thursdays in PvP. Probably kill one this Thursday. Oh, tune in. Oh, yes. Maybe I will kill one this Thursday. Yeah. Maybe that will happen. Definitely some bloodshed tomorrow if you want to check that out. Okay, guys. That's all I got for you. Peace.